What's up, it's Jan, back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be my March wrap up. I'm literally coming here straight out of my thumbnail, but I have my handy dandy Stitch mug. Y'all know what that means. We're doing the reread, rewrite, burn version. But this is always the version. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been doing my wrap-ups like this for over 2 years now, and I'm never going back. I had an energy drink, y'all. I just got home from work. We're filming in my bedroom because Joey's on his way home from work. Every time I film, he comes home and he has to shower, and it's like a whole dilemma. So I'm like, let me just lock myself in this room and do it from here. So we're all happy. I have my reading journal. I do a little recap every month. So if you didn't know how these work, basically I have the little slips of paper in here with all the titles I read this month, all 29 of them, 29 books in 31 days, baby. Pull them out 3 at a time, and I say whether I would reread, rewrite, or burn said titles. It's basically fuck, marry, kill, but make it bookish. That's the little spiel. Oh god. I do a little recap. So I already said number of books, 29. I actually counted the number of pages I read, physical pages. I say this every time, but just a little disclaimer, I do count audiobooks in my Goodreads goal. I just don't count them in my daily page count. I do try to read 100 physical pages a day, every day, at least. I just don't feel like doing the math with the percentages on Libby for audiobooks. So yeah, but those are included in the 29. But in terms of physical pages, I read 6,817. Out of those 29 books, I read 11 BIPOC authors, which is not great. I say this every time too, but as long as I hit double digits, I feel all right. The best book of the month, none other than Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I knew I would love this. I just knew. I gotta read Vengeful this month for sure. And I am meeting V.E. Schwab on Thursday. It is currently Tuesday, so in 2 days around this time, I'll be at the V.E. Schwab event in Indiana with Sid from Sid Bookworm. Amazing. You'll probably see this after said event. Vicious. Gave it 5 stars. I read this in 24 hours. I read it for my Patreon 24-hour readathon. I do have a Patreon. If you are unaware, we are called The Lair. We are vampire themed. All the links are always down below. It's a fun time. There's Discord. We have buddy reads. We have, like I said, a readathon, and we talk about way more than just books on that Discord, and we're like a little vampy family, and it's a fun time. It also gets a little personal over there, so we know a lot about each other. But I would love to get to know you if you were interested. Again, the links are down below. Back to the book. I heard superheroes and I was like, yikes. But this is like something else. Also, the amount of like astonishment I had when I realized that the main characters are Victor and Eli, and I knew that since like way before I even read this. And V. Schwab's name, the V is Victoria, and the E, I was like, it has to be Elizabeth if the guy's name is Eli in this book. And lo and behold, it was. And I was like, wow, I know things about stuff. This is basically about these people with powers who are called extraordinaries. I think some people consider this dark academia, and you know, we're gonna roll with it. It was so quick and fast-paced. The chapters are really short. I really became invested in the characters and all the different abilities that all these characters could do. It is definitely very well done. A lot of dark moments. There's a dog involved. It's basically like friends to enemies. They were friends in college and then they became like legit enemies, as in like, I want to fucking kill you type of enemies. It says a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions someone could develop extraordinary abilities. And it was just so good. Everyone says the second one isn't as great, but I'm gonna try to beat the odds. I'm gonna hype it up for myself and hope it lives up. I tabbed the bejesus out of it and it looks so good with the red and the pink. That was the best book. The worst book of the month was a library book. Did I listen to it on audio? Yeah, I think I listened to this one on audio. It's called Me Moth by Amber McBride. It was super short. It's written in verse. It just didn't translate well via audio. Gave it 2 stars. I had a few 2 stars throughout the month, but this one was the least like I was not invested at all, like from page 1, from minute 1 in terms of the audiobook. So this is one of those cases where I think if I did read it physically, I would have enjoyed it slightly more. Maybe it would have been a 3-star, but the story itself was just not gripping. It was very juvenile. I mean, it did discuss mental health. That was all good, but it was mostly like coming of age and this romance that I felt no chemistry for. That's that. I only read that because, well, it was available on audio and it was like a 3-hour audiobook, so I was like, done, you know? But I also read Amber McBride's other book right before this one, so I was like, let me check out the other one. So I'll talk about that one later, but let's finish the recap, shall we? Books left on TBR. This is the last month that I did a TBR, a monthly TBR. After this, I decided to finally scrap them and just mood read for as long as I want. Maybe I'll bring the monthly TBRs back. but for a while at least. We're gonna be replacing them with my most anticipated releases for the month. We're gonna bring those videos back in lieu of the TBRs. We're gonna see if my stress levels decrease by making this girl boss move, but we'll see, because right now it is April 11th and the stress levels are still there, but on a different vein. Anyway, 3 out of 10. So I read 7 books for my TBR, so not too shabby. Nonfiction, I try to read at least 1 nonfiction a month, but this month I read 3, so high five to me. I read Just As I Am by Cicely Tyson. I listened to that one on audio. I listened to all 3 of these on audio, but I have the physical copy of I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I also listened to Have I Told You This Already by Lauren Graham, as Lorelai from Gilmore Girls, if you were unaware. Gave all of those 5 stars. Such great memoirs all around, and they were all narrated by the authors, so their voices really, you know, shone through. Shown through? Oh wait, no, Just As I Am was narrated by someone else, but Cicely Tyson did have an intro where she narrated it. Nonetheless, it's 5 stars, all 3 of them. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say. People say that Have I Told You This Already wasn't as good as Talking As Fast As I Can, and like I could see that, but they were both pretty freaking good. I don't know, I just love Lauren Graham, so I might be a little biased, but I'm Glad My Mom Died. This made me look up some like iCarly scenes, like clips of them on YouTube, and I was just like, wow, Jeanette McCurdy was really going through it while filming these scenes, and you like cannot even tell. Like, she is a 5-star actor. It's incredible how much this girl went through and how she just like pushed through it in order to please her mom's wishes, basically. So this one's intense. Well, they're all intense. I feel like a lot of the memoirs I read are pretty intense. Have I Told You This Already was just like a series of essays, and then Just As I Am was very powerful. Cicely Tyson's life was a lot, and she met some very famous people in her lifetime, so that's pretty cool. And she also had like relationships with very famous people. Highly recommend all 3 of those. And then I do try to read at least 1 Kindle book every month. I read 3 this month as well. So I read Pigs by Wade H. Garrett, which was my book for Unmuted and Unhinged sprints that I do on my Patreon with Joey, and basically we read horror novellas in one sitting and we live react to them. So it's basically reading sprints but make it live reacting to some gruesome shit. I gave this one 5 stars, surprisingly, super surprisingly, because just based on the cover I wanted to throw up, but like it's just something else. So the first chapter will piss you off because it's this cop like fucking everything up, right? But then later the dude that was like the victim of the situation, he turned it around, basically tortured these 3 cops that were involved in the most brutal, ruthless ways, and I loved every fucking second. I was screaming, squealing. I loved it. So that was that. I read on my Kindle, but this is Joey's physical copy. And then I also read The Tea Dragon Society just for my 24-hour readathon to give my brain a little breaky break, and I gave that one 2 stars. I know. I think if it were the Coffee Dragon Society though, I think I said this in my blog, I think I would have liked it a lot better, but like the art style was cute, but I also couldn't appreciate it that much because I was reading it on my Kindle, so everything was black and white. I just like didn't get the story. I didn't really care, and like there was just too much going on but also nothing. It's not a series for me. It is adorable though, the art style is adorable, the little dragons are adorable, but the whole like magic system and the plot of it, I just like wasn't about it. The 3rd book I read on my Kindle was just a random, I don't even know, My Evil Mother by Margaret Atwood. Y'all know how much I love The Handmaid's Tale. Maybe you don't, but now you do. This one is a short story. It's a witchy story. Someone recommended it to me when I was looking for something witchy to read like months ago, and then I finally picked it up because I wanted something short and quick to read while I was doing cardio at the gym. I'm sweating. 4 stars. It was really good. The relationship between the mother and the daughter was so toxic. I need a drink. It's fucking hot in here, but the witchiness was definitely there, and I really liked the way it was written. I honestly could not tell you the plot if I tried. I think the kid like rebelled and something and found stuff out about her mom and the witchy shit that was going on, and then she was in contact with the dad, something like that. I don't know, but I liked it. For Buzzwordathon, for Kayla from Books and Lala's annual reading challenge, I try to participate every month as best as I can, try to read at least 1 book that fits, and the buzzword for March was secret. So I read another book that's gonna go in my most surprising of the year, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I gave this bitch 5 stars. I was like, what? I literally thought this was gonna be like a 3 max, because even though it's witchy, it's the found family trope, and House in the Cerulean Sea ruined that trope for me. So I was like so skeptical about this one, but I listened to the audio because I think I put it on hold, or because it was available. I was stressing about my TBR. Go figure. Are we shocked? Not I, Outside the Fly. I would have tabbed the shit out of this, so I'm kind of sad that I read it audibly, but also really glad I did because the narrator was impeccable. They had like 7 different accents. There were multiple narrators for sure, but yeah, all the accents just brought you into the story. It was really cute in terms of the found family situation. Basically, this girl makes videos. I forgot her name. Mika? Yeah. Mika. Look at me. That's how you know I like a book, because I remember the main character's name. Mika makes like witchy videos for the internet. She pretends to be a witch, if that makes sense. But then like people who run this like orphan house of witches saw her videos and was like, she's not faking it. She's a real witch. She's the real deal. So they hired her. Basically, she like nannies these kids, but also teaches them magic and like shows them what they could be capable of. Because obviously they all have powers, but no one's really taught them how to use them because they're orphans, and she's an orphan herself as well. So you learn about her backstory and how like sad everything was, and like how she was treated poorly in all her relationships. So she definitely has trust issues. But then there's this guy at this house too, and it was so fucking cute, y'all. Like I loved it so much. It was so adorable. Like I could not put the audiobook down, and that is so rare for me. I just wanted to listen to it all day every day. Like I could not be bothered when this audiobook was in my ears. 5 stars. Definitely most surprising of the year. This and Vicious and The Villa were neck and neck on my best books of the month, but I was like, I gotta give V.E. Schwab the cake. I just had to. I did not read a classic, and I did not read a 500+ page book. Again, not shocked. All right, let's just fucking do this, okay? This is already long enough. I am dripping sweat, my dudes. While I was like making these little slips of paper, I read a lot of books with long titles. What the fuck? Like my hand was about to fall off writing these out, and my handwriting just got progressively worse. So we have Tea Dragon Society, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and then How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Obviously burning Tea Dragon Society because that was 2 stars. Yeah, okay, this one's piece of cake. Rereading this, rewriting this. Already talked about this, talked your ear off about it, we get it. This one, listen, I'm about to edit my vlog actually right after this, where I read this for Gabby's Screaming Color Readathon. I gave this one 3 stars. I would rewrite it for sure by cutting a shit ton out about the sibling rivalry. Let me tell you, oh my god, these siblings, I was watching the live show for Gabby's book troupe, and Gavin explained it perfectly. He called it was like whiplash, because this girl could not make up her mind about how she felt about her brother. It was just so fucking annoying, because literally 250 pages in, still nothing was resolved between these siblings. Like they kept just changing their minds about each other and about their decisions, about who gets what. So you've probably heard that this involves scary puppets. There's also squirrels involved. I said it in my vlog, but I'm an only child, so I can never relate to sibling relationships in books. So I mean, a little bit would have been fine because it would make sense for the story, but like this was too much. But listen, the creepy parts in this, oh, I did read this. I did just post a vlog where I reacted to some of the creepy parts in this, so I'll have that link down below. I finished it in Gabby's readathon. Grady Hendrix is so hit or miss. Not even hit or miss. Horror Store was the only hit, and then the other 3 that I've read by him were 3 stars. I'm gonna keep trying, but yeah, Horror Store was by far my favorite, in case you were curious about my Grady Hendrix ranking. I've also read the vampire one and My Best Friend's Exorcism, and they were all 3 stars. So moving on, is I need to get out of this room. It's freaking hot. We have Orange Future. That's a manga. Oh, another manga, Venus in the Blind Spot by Junji Ito. And then This Might Hurt by Stephanie Roble. These are all library books. Okay, I would reread Venus in the Blind Spot because I gave this one 5 stars. Junji Ito, my king, my horror king. Really love this one. This was also really surprising because just based on the cover, it looked really sci-fi, and I'm not a sci-fi girly, especially like even Junji Ito, like with Remina and more of the sci-fi-ish stories, I could not get behind. But this one, I can only think of one in this collection. They all kind of mix up because especially because I read 2 Junji Ito story collections this month. They all like blur together. But from this one in particular, I remember that only one of them didn't give me a visceral reaction. Everything else, I was like, you know, like making all those fucking sounds. Yeah, okay. I'd probably burn Orange Future Volume 7. Sorry, Volume 6. Volume 7 is the one that I can't find anywhere, but Volume 6, gave this one 4 stars. I loved the 2 big orange complete collections. I loved them. So this one was really good too. It was nice to be back in this world, but I'd probably burn this because if I were gonna reread anything from the Orange series, I'd reread the collections. You know what I mean? This one was just kind of like an extension. It was nice to be back with the characters, but I don't really remember much from this one, but it was a fun, nice time. So then that means I would rewrite This Might Hurt. I gave this one 3 stars. This is the author of Darling Rose Gold, in case you were unaware. And I love Darling Rose Gold, so I picked this one up. I didn't even know this came out until I saw it at the library. I got it as an audiobook as well, so I did a tandem, whatever, hybrid read. After that, it was like fast paced, but it took a while to get into. When I picked it up, I heard it was a culty book, and I love those. But this one, it took a while to even like mention the cult portion of the book. Ooh, that was my tummy. What? Hello. What are you doing? You're in the... Oh, no, you're not. Pause. Okay. This one also had magic, like Houdini magic, not like witchy magic, and also swimming. And so those parts, I would have just like chosen different hobbies, you know? I wasn't really into it. And it made certain parts drag. There was one swimming part involving the dad and his like abusive tendencies. Not even tendencies, he was just abusive. So trigger warning for that. And that was intense. That was like the first entertaining, I don't want to say entertaining, I say that term loosely, you know, like first part of the book that gripped me. Yeah, let's go with that. Entertaining is a little harsh for an abusive scene, you know? That's the verdict on that. Moving on. So we have Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I accidentally grabbed 4. Oops. Man-Made Monsters by Andrea L. Rogers. This was the full moon book club pick for February, but I read it in March because y'all know me. And then Have I Told You This Already? How do I even do this? Okay, fuck. Okay, I'd probably burn Have I Told You This Already? I know I said I gave it 5 stars and I loved it, but I think I would read, if I wanted to, just because of the situation, I could still read Talking as Fast as I Can. So this one can go. I'll get the same effect because the other two, I just, yeah, this makes, wait. Yeah, because I'd rather burn it than rewrite it, you know, because how am I going to rewrite a memoir? I would reread Man-Made Monsters. Okay, so this is a short story collection and it's beautifully done. Bear and I had such a good discussion. I mean, good in terms of like when we got things rolling, but I just sucked at remembering everything and recalling which story goes with which plot and shit. But look how pretty these tabs are. Can we just take a moment? Okay, moment has been taken. Yeah, I would definitely reread this because I obviously from that live show, if y'all were there, if not, I guess I'll link it down below. But I missed a lot of like the metaphors, the Native American culture that I was unaware about. And now that Bear explained to me some of that because they are part of the Cherokee tribe and so was this author. So that was like a happy accident. Now I can reread it one day and be like, I get it now. So I would definitely reread this. I gave this 4 stars just because it's a story collection, you know, some were better than others and they're all different lengths of stories. Like some of them are like 3 pages long, some of them are like 20, 30. So just be aware of that because Bear and I were not at first. And it was kind of jarring to see the differences. If you want like a dedicated reading vlog for these full moon book club picks, I do still do them because I used to do them on YouTube, but now I do them as spoiler filled vlogs for Patreon only. For all tiers. And then what's left is Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This I would rewrite and make it longer because this is the Taylor Jenkins Reid that I know and love. I'm so glad that I forgot about this backlist because I've read everything she's written so far and this one was only available on Kindle Unlimited, and when I found out about it at first I didn't have a Kindle, so I forgot about it, and then now I have one, so I got it. It's epistolary format, so it went really quickly and it was like 80 pages, maybe less than that, and it's basically about these 2 couples. One of them is cheating, and then so the other one in each relationship are in correspondence about those 2 who are having an affair, and then they have a connection in said correspondence because their significant others weren't like paying attention to them and shit like that. So it was very messy but also kind of realistic as well, so I did appreciate that, and it was very honest and raw. It was believable. I liked it a lot. I was highly invested. I could not put that thing down. I think I read it pretty much just in a lunch break. So that was really good. Gave that one 5 stars. Yeah, and I would just make it a full novel. Then we have All the Dangerous Things by Stacy Willingham, who's the author of A Flicker in the Dark. And we have I'm Glad My Mom Died. And then She Is a Haunting. Let me just... She is a disappointment. I'm so sorry and I'm so sad about it, but this was my #1 most highly anticipated of 2023 and she just let me down. I gave her 3 stars, but I wanted it to be a 5 so badly. I tried so hard to just like reel it in, focus, tunnel vision, and I just could not get into it. It had horror elements and the writing is beautiful, but like felt very disjointed. I'll have my vlog link down below, but it just was not what I was expecting. I mean, it had a lot of good discussions. Basically, this girl is staying staying in Vietnam with her dad because they had like this deal involving money. So she's talking about, you know, being too American or too Vietnamese and things like that. And then there's like all this Vietnamese language thrown in here, which was cool, but sometimes it wasn't translated, so it took me out of the story, which is a me problem, obviously. But then there's like the horror aspects of it, the ghosts, like the paranormal parts. I was like kind of lost, and there's like this prank situation involved. I was also lost about that. It's not just me, because I was talking to my patrons about it and a lot of them felt the same way. So that's really sad. I would burn this. My heart hurts. Oh my god, I just got sweat on my book. That's so unfortunate. So this is definitely going on my most disappointing of 2023. And then I'll probably unhaul it. So stay tuned for that at the end of the year. Because it'll be on my Pango probably. Because it just makes me sad to look at it. Even though the cover is stunning, and I literally raved about this and would not shut the fuck up about it since I heard about its release. Because I was like, Asian Final Girl? Horror? What? I would reread I'm Glad My Mom Died, because obviously I wouldn't rewrite it because it's her life. I do want to reread it physically actually, because I did follow along for a little bit, but mostly just listened to it on audio while I was at work and driving and stuff. And the chapters are really short. I definitely want to annotate it and everything, so would reread that. And then All the Dangerous Things I really freaking loved. I gave All the Dangerous Things 5 stars as well. That was also really surprising because it's the missing child trope, and I guess I would rewrite that. I guess it's rewritable. I was like, what else could affect a mother that much? It's rewritable. It could be like a missing other family member. That's the only way I would rewrite it though. Everything else, the twists, were perfect. Stacy Willingham is my new favorite auto-buy thriller author. A Flicker in the Dark was incredible as well. She's really good at the twists and the reveals and the pacing of her books. Just like fleshing out the characters and getting you invested and making you think it's one person but it's not. There's just the right amount of red herrings and twists that just keep you gripped from page 1 to the end. I'm not even joking. This was so freaking good. So highly recommend. Not a fan of the missing child trope. I think that's 3. So Just As I Am by Cicely Tyson, Me Moth, and The Villa. Oh god. Okay. Would reread Just As I Am, because again, why would I rewrite it? I definitely wouldn't burn it because it was impeccable. 5 stars. Me Moth obviously would burn. And then rewrite The Villa. I thought I had it physically. I should have it physically. It was 5 stars. If I didn't have work, I would have read it in a total of like 6 hours. It was so fucking good. Another surprising one, because I've seen a couple reviews that said like it was mediocre. I've read mediocre. The Wife Upstairs by this author is mediocre, okay? This was so well done. And it was so perfect because I just started watching Daisy Jones and the Six, and this had all the same vibes without me having to reread Daisy Jones and the Six for a 3rd time. And it was just like the gothic vibes in the summer hit so different, but also the same, because it was inspired by the Manson murders and then also Mary Shelley as she was writing Frankenstein in a castle with Lord Byron. And that was all I needed, but it was so much more. I think the only way I would rewrite this is to make it set in the fall. Yep. Problem solved. I was stuck because I was like, everything about this was perfect. There was also this one scene that was kind of, I don't know why my brain wants me to say convoluted, but it was just like, it didn't have me fully, but I snapped right back out of it and was fully in. The reveals were so well done. It was definitely a more quiet thriller, so do know that going in, but I absolutely loved it. It would have been perfection, like 6 stars perfection, if it were set in the fall instead of the summer. But alas, it's fine. It was 5 stars. My perspective on this author has changed drastically because of this book. Reckless Girls was good too. Audibly, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much physically, but audibly, that was good. But The Wife Upstairs really had me iffy about this one. But oh my god. Like I said, it was in the running for my best book of the month. And we have The Trees Grew Because I Bled There. So this is a story collection, and it actually got republished to The Stranger... Oh, wait, no, I read The Stranger Things We Become or something like that. The Strange Things We Become and Other Dark Tales. But it got republished to The Trees Grew Because I Bled There by Eric LaRocca. God, why was that so hard to say? The Burning Girls by CJ Tudor. The Lies We Tell. I think I would burn Eric LaRocca. No, sorry. I'd probably burn The Burning Girls. 3 stars. I listened to it on audio. I think I would have liked it better if I did a tandem read. Do you call it a tandem read or a hybrid read? I called it hybrid read for the longest time, and then I saw someone call it a tandem read, and I was like, kind of like that. I followed along with the audiobook for a good chunk of it, and I did like the end. A lot of the creepy parts with like literally the burning girls, those were creepy, but but I feel like I wasn't as immersed in the story as I could have been. I'm glad I read it because it was on my TBR for a while, ever since Gabby had it as a book troop pick. When was it? Was it last year? 2 years ago? I don't even know, but I guess I would burn The Burning Girls. I would reread The Lies We Tell. I'll have a vlog link down below, but this one was such a good YA thriller, and I don't say that often, but this is the companion novel to How We Fall Apart, and this one was so much better. It explored racism and like hate crimes and all of that really well. It's intense, it gets graphic, so do beware if you're sensitive to that subject matter because it does get triggering. So basically it's this YA murder mystery on this college campus. There's stalking and obsession involved, so again, could be triggering, so please tread with caution. But this was so good, and I would absolutely reread this physically because I did listen to it on audio, and it was so quick and it was so gripping. I really love this one. I gave it 4 stars, I believe. Yeah. And then The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, I would rewrite. Listen, the edition I had was like the older edition, so the font was like micro fucking scopic, so that's why it took me literal weeks to finish this like 106 page book or some shit. I think that was part of the problem, but also a couple of the stories I was like, meh, so probably rewrite those. But other than that, Eric LaRocca, again, another one of those horror authors that can do no wrong. God, are we almost done yet? Why did I read so much? We have We're All So Good at Smiling by Amber McBride. Told you I would talk about it later. Spy Family Volume 3, Fragments of Horror by Junji Ito. Would absolutely reread this one. This is in my top 3. I think definitely top 5 of Junji Ito's works. Probably my top 3, honestly. It was so fucking good. 5 stars. Every single story in this collection got a visceral reaction out of me. Every single one I was gasping and I was creeped out. The illustrations, just unmatched. Junji Ito is unmatched. So yeah, I would highly recommend this if you're looking for where to start with Junji Ito. This one, Tomie is my number 1. Tomie, and then I think this one, and then Love Sickness. Oh wait, Uzumaki. Oh my god, how did I forget? Tomie, Uzumaki's really creepy. I don't know. But this one's up there on my ranking for sure. Probably burn Spy Family because it's a manga and it's a 3rd in the series. I mean, whatever. It's a whatever series. It's another one of those cutesy manga that like I will finish the series, but I'm not like obsessed. You know, they are adorable, but I'm not like, oh my god, I want these on my shelves type of thing. Well, I gave Spy Family Volume 3 4 stars. I really like that one. I remember that one. I like the ending of that one too. We're All So Good at Smiling, I would rewrite 3 stars. The point of it was to be whimsical while talking about mental health, anxiety, depression, mental illnesses in the vein of a whimsical fairy tale type of thing. But I think sometimes the whimsy was a little too much. Like the main character's name was literally Whimsy. I do remember that. So I think I would rewrite it to just like make it a little more grounded, a little less abstract for some parts, just to get a better grip on the subject matter of depression and all of that. So yeah, I think it was well done. It was creative for sure. It was another one in verse, but it wasn't groundbreaking. You guys ever do wrap-ups and be like, oh my god, if the author was watching right now, be fucking humiliated. Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match, which I read audibly. I also followed along. I got the physical copy too. From the library though. Sign Here by Claudia Lux. And then The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare. I would burn Red Scrolls of Magic. I gave that one 2 stars. I had to DNF this physically and then DNF it audibly and then try again audibly. And I finally finished it and I couldn't tell you a single goddamn thing. Oh, yes I can. I really liked, the fuck's his name? I guess I can't tell you a single goddamn thing. The vampire. I forgot his name, but I liked the vampire in it. He was funny. And of course, he was the vampire. Are we surprised? I would reread Sign Here because I feel like I rushed this because it was for another Patreon readathon and I feel like I missed a lot. Like, look at those tabs. That's not enough. It was a really funny book. The audiobook was really well done. I just feel like I missed a lot. I zoned out a lot. I was doing too many other things while I was trying to listen to this. So would definitely reread this. It's basically about this guy who works in hell, literal hell, and he needs a promotion, but to get said promotion, he has to steal another family member's soul or something like that, or have them sign off their soul. And so there's that storyline, and then there's the family's storyline, and it's like a higher class family and they have a whole lot of messy drama going on with them. So I missed a lot of that part, I think, but I really like this. I think the like hell portions were done really well. It was definitely compelling and the humor was great. So I would reread that, and then I would rewrite Angelica Frankenstein. How would I rewrite this? I don't know. I mean, it was supposed to be over the top, so I don't know, something about Sally Thorne's writing, I just can't. But I did really like the romance in this. It was really cute, and I think the ridiculousness of it is what made it so charming. But I think some of the dialogue was just like, a little unnecessary from what I could remember. It was a really silly, goofy, fun time, so I like that. I gave that one 3 stars. I guess it was kind of forgettable because why do I have 3 left? Didn't I read 29 books? That doesn't add up. The math is not mathing. I forgot pigs. I'm missing 2. Why am I missing 2? Wait. Okay, Vicious, My Evil Mother, and Our Wives Under the Sea. Okay, unless I counted. Oh my god. And Sorrow and Bliss. Okay, well those 2 are gonna be the wild cards because I forgot to write them down. But okay, focus, Jan. My Evil Mother, I would probably burn, especially compared to these 2. Yeah, My Evil Mother I would burn, even though I gave it 4 stars. It happened. There are many other Margaret Atwood books that I have to read still, so that one's going. Vicious I would absolutely reread. I bought the first edition, the original cover, so I have multiple editions of it. Obviously says a lot about it, so absolutely reread. Our Wives Under the Sea, I would rewrite. So I gave this one 4 stars. There were just some parts that kind of dragged a little bit. It was really well written, I will say. But I think, you know what? I would just change her like underwater exhibition thing to not being underwater. Just like something else that's just as scary. That's not underwater or in space. You know, maybe like the Arctic or something, or like the deep, deep jungle. That'd be cool. But otherwise, the writing is stunning. I said this in my vlog, but it really explored the nuances of like the falling out phase of a relationship really well, because a wife went on a submarine exhibition that lasted 6 months when it was only supposed to be 3 weeks, and then so she was all messed up when she came back to her wife, and so that wife is trying to navigate life again, living with her after 6 months of being away from her, and then dealing with all the repercussions of this underwater deep ocean situation that she was just in for 6 long months. So that was done really well. Just me and water books just don't get along, so that's a verdict. I don't even think I grabbed Sorrow and Bliss. I swear okay, I definitely did. So my wild cards are just like, it could be any of the 3. So I think I would reread this. I would reread this. This was a fun time. 5 stars, again, super surprising. And then this one, I think I would just burn. I gave Sorrow and Bliss 3 stars. I liked the writing and like the discussions on mental health and, you know, figuring life out, because she is 40 and she just went through a divorce, and then so she's like trying to figure out life, doesn't know what she's doing, and she's just lost. Okay, she doesn't want kids, but then she does, and then she doesn't, and then she does, and that part of it made me really realize that there are such few books. I don't remember the last time I read a book where a character doesn't want kids, like aggressively doesn't want kids, which is what I said in my vlog, because like that's me. Like kids are an absolute deal breaker, a no-no. Reading a book about a character who changes her mind like everyone in my fucking life has told me, it's just fucking annoying. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler, I don't even care, but that really like killed it for me. But I still gave it a 3 because it did have that dry humor and it had some notable quotes about what depression feels like, and it was very accurate in my opinion. That's that. I don't even really want to talk about this. I'm like getting lightheaded from the heat in here, man. Like I need to stop. If you don't mind the whole like wanting kids thing and it playing a huge role in the overall storyline of a book, I still recommend this, I feel like. My lord, I'm so freaking tired. If you made it to the end of this video, let's put a skull emoji in the comments down below if you made it to the end, because there are skulls on the cover. Okay, yeah, okay. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you agree, disagree, whatever you feel like commenting. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all had a great day. Stay safe, stay positive, and stay spooky always, and I'll see y'all on my next video. Bye.